Chat, what is up? I don't really know why I decided to make a tier list, but I've decided to make a tier list for every operator. So, just to start, I'm starting with the uh, explanation of the ranks. I'm not really going to do a usual, S through F sort of thing, but I'm going to do this instead. So, the top tier is you can bring this operator every round, and they're always going to be useful. They're always going to be good. And then the next tier is almost always good, which is pretty self-explanatory. You can bring them on almost any round, and they're going to bring value to the team. Pretty good. It's just kind of my in-between from situationally strong and almost always good for those operators that I don't feel are situational, but I also don't feel like they're almost always good. And then we have situational, which is like, they're good in certain situations, but I wouldn't really call them strong. And then we have the generally not good, which is, pretty self-explanatory. Also, just generally they're not good to bring. Although, in my opinion, every single operator has their value that they can bring to the team. There's at least one situation where they're legitimately a good decision to bring. Starting off with Sledge. Sledge is, I would say, situationally strong. It's somewhere. I'm not really sure if he's situationally strong or situational at this point. He's got a good primary, um, but his secondary is, it's just a pistol. And his ability gets outshined a lot by Buck and especially Ram. Like, the only thing Sledge can do that Buck can't do is break like castles and stuff, but even then Buck can bring a Gon 6, and then like Ram, I don't know where she is. Ram can she can do vert way better than Sledge. Buck can even do vert from below, so I'm gonna put Sledge in situational for now. We'll see where he ends up in the end. Thatcher, I would consider either pretty good or almost always good. Thatcher is a very good primary, and he's got claymores and breach charges, so he can play vert if you really desperately need some vert, and like say your Ram or your Buck is dead, or whoever you brought for vert is dead. His EMPs are obviously the most useful thing about him, so on any site that or any site that you need to get a wall open, as long as they're not tricking the wall, Thatcher is super good for getting that. And even if they are tricking, if you're really coordinated with your thermite, you can still get the wall open, or your ace, depending on the wall. In fact, I'm gonna put him here because his gun is really good. He has a 1 speed, which is not super great, but he has a very, very good gun. In fact, 2, with both the L8 and the AR-33 being very, very good guns. And his EMP affects like 80-90% of defenders, so he is super good. Thatcher rushes are actually really good because, you can use the EMP to get rid of Capcans and Melusis and stuff like that. Smoke. Honestly, I would consider a Smoke almost always good. I wouldn't ever bring a Smoke like instead of a Bandit or anything like that. But like if you have the spare operator slots, you've already got all the other operators that you need for your site, then Smoke is never a bad pick if you've already got everything else covered. The same goes for Mute, except Mute is even better. Again, I still wouldn't bring him over a Bandit if no one else is willing to play Bandit, but if you've got all of your other things covered, then bringing Mute is a really, really good choice. Ashe. Honestly, I'm going to put Ashe in pretty good. And it's kind of controversial, but like Ashe's ability does a lot, but like the only reason Ashe is good is because she has a very good gun. She's a 3 speed, and her breaching charge gets her through a wall or a hatch or a castle or something like that. So like she's definitely good, but I would rather have a Zero or an Ayana playing with a team than an Ashe most of the time. Uh, it's maybe a little bit of bias because a lot of Ashe mains are just for the aim and they don't actually cooperate with the team very much. So I'm going to leave her there for now. Maybe we'll move her in a little bit. Thermite. Thermite is, I would also consider pretty good. His gun is good, but it's not like a top tier weapon, in my opinion at least. Thermite is really good for getting the main wall. He's also good for getting hatches that are next to soft floor because you can get them even if they're electrified. You just place the Thermite next to the hatch and it'll blow it open. So Thermite is definitely a really good bring, but there's a lot of sites where you really don't want to bring a Thermite at all, which is why I would say he's pretty good because, like, even if it's a site that you don't really want a Thermite, he's still got a good gun, he's still got smokes, he's still got flashes. So there's still a lot of things you can do on a Thermite, even if it's a suboptimal pick. Castle, I'm actually think I'm going to make a new tier here because I don't really know a lot about Castle. I actually am going to make a new row here. Oh, whoops. Changing the wrong one. Whoopsies. Yeah, this one is, I don't actually really know a lot about Castle. I don't really know what he's good on. I don't really know what his weaknesses are all that much. I'm gonna come back to this one later. Pulse. Pulse I'm gonna consider pretty good. He's fast. His weapon has like literally 0 recoil. You can run no recoil reduction attachments on it, and you will be perfectly fine. The cardiac sensor is definitely really good. You can make some really good C4 from below plays. You can get some good intel for your team on like where people are spawning and stuff like that. So he's definitely a really good operator. I wouldn't consider him up in the same tier as these guys, though. In fact, I might even bring Thatcher down a little. We'll see. Twitch. Twitch is a really strong operator. Twitch can counter. I'm gonna put her here. Twitch can counter like a ton of defenders. Like she can shoot out. Like for example, if we look down here at the defenders, she can shoot cap cans. She can shoot Jaegers. She can shoot bandits. Can't really shoot frosts all that well. She can get rid of Valk cams. She can get rid of echo drones. She can destroy Miras. She can get rid of legions, Ellas, like tons and tons of defenders that she can get rid of. She's got a really good gun, really strong but difficult to control gun with the F2, and then she has the 417, one of the best attacking weapons in the game. So, and just the fact that she has 4 drones instead of the normal 2, so even if you're not getting the util out of the shock part of the shock drones, there's still 2 extra drones for your team. So if you can keep those alive and get those in good positions, that's a ton of extra intel you're bringing to your team, which is really, really helpful. I wouldn't say she's almost always good. There's definitely a lot of operators I would rather see on a team than a Twitch. Yeah, Monty. I'm going to put Monty up here. Monty is in a really, really strong position right now. Shields are definitely super strong at the moment. I'm not putting him up in the can bring every round because you have to be really coordinated with your team, or your enemy team has to be have some glaring weaknesses in order for you to solo things with Monty. Or you just need to be better. But assuming you're on an even playing field, you got to be coordinated with your team to do good work with Monty. But he is in a really, really strong position. Yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about Monty. Really, really good for planting, you know, stuff like that. Doc. I'd be glad to see a Doc on my team pretty much every round. He's really good gun, you know, bailiff, so he can make rotates, so he can contribute that to the team. BP and I believe barbed wire, so whichever gadget you take, it's pretty good. Um, and of course, his ability is super, super helpful a lot of the time. Even if he's using it selfishly, that extra HP to bring to the team is still really nice. Funny thing is that Doc himself actually pretty much hard counters Callie, because Callie's sniper will only down him, and then he can pick himself back up, and then Callie just isn't able to finish him because after he boosts himself with the stim, with the res, it actually takes 2 shots to kill him. So that's super good. Rook, I would consider pretty good. He's got the same gun as Doc, but he doesn't have the bailiff. The impacts are nice.
What happened?
Hey, some people just joined my Discord. Yippee.
What?
Hold on, I'm gonna take
No, I'm watching part 3 right now.
hello to them real quick. Yo, yo, yo.
Oh my god.
I've been muted the whole time, and I didn't see that you guys joined.
Oh, yo, what's up?
Big sexy.
Oh, what's
Ew.
up? Everyone's here.
Ew.
I'm
Colin.
still...
Ew. Wait, night locked? Hold
Yeah,
the
you know
fuck
him.
on.
You know him.
I'm still
Yeah.
doing my my tier list at the moment. You guys want to watch?
Where do
Give me
I know
some
you from?
criticism?
Unturned as
Unturned.
well.
Same with
Unturned,
me.
yeah. Damn, dude. Wait. Hold the fuck on. Wait. Do you guys ever remember a guy named Walmart? Something like that?
No.
No. Who the fuck is that?
No, not you. Fuck you, Brian.
He wants me
Fuck
so
you,
bad, guys.
Volleyball twink. Volleyball twink.
He wants me so bad. That's why he's calling me a twink.
Don't tell him that, Pookie. Anyway, hold on. Let me get Siege up and running. I was watching part 3 of JoJo's.
I'm still doing my tier list at the moment. You guys want to watch and give me criticism?
No.
No?
We
Okay.
don't.
Actually,
list,
you're gonna get into Siege while you're doing your tier list.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
opening right now.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll watch your tier list.
Okay. Cool.
I'm not. I'm not giving you views.
That's fine.
My views are very valuable.
Ugh, everything's so bright. What the fuck?
I have enough to buy 2 more
Oops,
things.
Did I stream the wrong? No, I didn't. Okay.
Can you stream hear us?
Yes, it can.
Oh, so don't drop the hard R.
Wait, how many viewers do you have?
I have 8
Do not-
subscribers and
do
0
not-
views.
Oh,
Do
was
not
there a
be
view?
dropping the
Yeah.
hard R. Don't be doing that.
Yeah.
Come
Best?
on, man, that ruins all the fun.
Yeah.
Mute does not.
Don't be
Mute.
dropping hard Rs.
I love Mute, but he's not good every round. There are some sides where he's just utter garbage.
No, he's not.
And Ash can be brought every round. The fuck are you talking about?
Okay,
Mute-
listen, I'm gonna
mute
be
is
so
not-
real with you. You have Ash bias.
No, I don't. You
You
have
do have Ash bias.
anti
You have an Ash,
Ash
bias.
bias.
Ash is
Just like
not...
fucking-
Dude,
Ash,
you have a
Fucking
major
Ash.
Ash bias, Colin.
Ash-
You
have
have a
a
Ash-
major Ash
Wait.
bias.
Ash is a C tier soft breacher. Straight up.
Like, she's a good
What the fuck are you
character.
talking about?
She's a good character, but I'm gonna be so real with you.
Every single breacher out breaches her.
Yo, she's way
I'm the-
overhyped. Way overhyped.
Yeah.
She's not over.
Like, she's
Oh,
good
yeah,
at
yeah.
fragging,
Zofia
but-
Zofia has the same gadget as her, but also with concussions.
and it blows the wall up faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Buck has
Zophia's
more
also
potential for
300
vert.
pounds.
I'm pretty sure
And-
Buck
Buck has-
is.
Buck has more potential for vert, an equally good gun, a shotgun, and he can breach more soft walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Buck's gun is difficult.
Yeah.
to
Oh yeah, you
control.
guys got
If you
anything for
don't know it,
Castle?
then-
I don't know Castle.
Castle's
like,
are pretty
at all.
good. Castle's really good,
Yeah,
honestly.
Okay.
Castle's
What do you think?
insane.
What do you think? I'm thinking like
Castle's insane.
above Rook, below Pulse.
I think we put 0 inside it can bring every round.
Hold on,
I'm
above Rook?
going-
Bro, what?
That's
Yeah.
a joke.
Yeah,
That's a
Castle
joke.
goes above Rook.
Knock and Ella both
Although-
need to go in general.
Okay,
Yeah,
listen.
but
I'm
you
going.
have a
I'm going.
fucking
I'm
Pulse,
going
you have a
in
fucking-
the order of this list right here. I'm just going with whatever pops up first in this top left slot.
Glass is substantial.
I think
situationally.
situationally, yeah, situationally strong.
Same with Fuse.
Yeah, I think is also
Capcan
Capcan.
as
I
well.
would-
No, wait, hold on. I feel like Fuse deserves to be pretty good because he's such a good like anti-gadget, and he can
True.
But
get
he's so
killed.
situational.
No,
When
he's
it-
like
can't play
anytime they have
You can't play
rules-
above, then
He's
yeah, but
also
you can still
be
fuse
countered.
walls.
That's like that's like saying, oh, Thermite's not good because they can have a bandit and that bandit trick you.
Yeah.
Okay, can we just get a fucking match?
I'm
I
gonna
agree with
finish
that
this
statement.
regardless of what you guys want to do.
Well, then you're not
so,
playing. Fuck you.
Yeah, I'll
I-
if you guys want to dip,
You-
I'll finish this one. You guys.
You've
can
been
play
at this tier list
matches.
for like a fucking hour. It feels
Are you
like.
autistic?
Yes.
What are you asking?
It's been
Yeah,
like
that's-
20 minutes, Colin.
Ask God. I have to ask God. Like, are you autistic?
Maybe I don't know.
Okay. I don't mean that as like an insult. I'm just saying
Mhm.
like some of the things like just knowing you for like the last 5 minutes is already
You're
giving
so
me like
autistic.
autism. You
It's
know?
okay. Me too. I'm also
Right,
autistic.
right, I'm not okay. Like I'm not like being weird about this or anything.
Oh.
Like it's just kind of screaming autism a little bit.
Fuck
What am I
autism.
giving you? What am I giving you then?
No, you're just an
That's
asshole.
Racist. Oh.
You're
You
just
know,
an asshole.
okay, valid. Nice, join the fucking group.
Yeah, the first,
Got
the
ranked
first
to
thing,
queue.
bro, Colin, the first thing you said was, "Oh, don't drop the hard R." No one fucking said anything about it until you were like, the N word.
Like nobody,
Well,
nobody
no.
mentioned
That was the
R.
that was the first thing you thought of. All right, that says a lot.
Guys, guys, guys.
Oh my God.
Just remember, don't be a deplorable human being.
Hey,
Please.
Oh man, I
Right.
love being a deplorable human being.
No one
That
likes
sucks.
autistic people, right?
you guys want to hear a
You
funny
sound
joke?
like Eminem, bro.
I'm gonna
You
def
guys want to
him.
hear a funny joke? Just
Okay, yeah, those are the people I play with. Anyways, onto Capcan. Capcan. In low elos, he's really strong, but in high, even in mid elos, I would consider him. I would consider him pretty good. I'd consider him on the same level as like Fuse and Pulse. He is good, good passable gun. Well, one of the better guns, really. It's just the fact that like, if the attackers are paying like any attention, then the Capcans are gonna get shot, or bravoed, or twitched, or IQ'd. But he is still good. He's still got a C4. He's still got the 9x9. So he is still a strong operator, and the Capcans can still bring utility. They still slow down rushes. So if you feel like your team are going to be, or the enemy team is going to be pushing really fast and not really properly checking things, then Capcan is definitely a really good pick. Tachanka. He's really not good. His fire does significantly less damage than Goyo fire. It's good at cutting off angles that the opponent can't just run through safely, but if they can just run through it, then the fire doesn't really do anything. It does like 1 bullet's worth of damage from like an SMG. It's really not that strong. Again, the only really good use of the Tachanka fire is to stop them from pushing up on spots where they can't just run through the fire, or shooting it over a wall that you don't want the attackers to be able to thermite. But if they're bringing an ace, then Tachanka doesn't do anything to stop that. Blitz, I'm putting in situationally strong because Blitz is all about surprising the enemy. So if the enemy is ready for you, you're going to get slammed. But if they're not ready for you, you're going to slam them. So I would consider him situationally strong. I definitely consider him someone that is not quite as useful as Glaz most of the time. Blitz is really a solo operator. You can have someone behind you who can kill the people that you're distracting, and that makes for really good pushes, but he's definitely not unlike Monty, he doesn't have that survivability that Monty has, so it's a lot harder to do stuff with your team with Blitz. IQ, I would also consider situationally strong. She has a good selection of guns, but she's not... Her ability is good, but I honestly wouldn't play IQ unless you know they're going to have a lot of things that you can IQ. Jaeger, I think, is really underrated Um, honestly, I would say you can bring a Jaeger every round. Like, they're gonna have throwables, and it's gonna be helpful. Um, Bandit, I would put up here. I'm not gonna say can bring every round because there's a lot of walls that you don't really want to bandit. But well, actually no, because honestly, at the same time, it doesn't hurt having those bandit batteries on the walls. It's just that, you know, sometimes it'd be better to bring a Cade, or sometimes it'd be better to have something like a Malusi instead of a bandit. But generally, if you're bringing a bandit, your ability is gonna be useful, and you have a strong gun, and you have a C4. So, Buck, unlike Ash, I legitimately do believe Buck is as good as people feel he is. He brings a ton of util. If you bring Gon 6 and Hard Breach charges, you can get through any breakable surface that isn't electrified. You can shotgun through soft walls, you can hard breach through hard walls, and you can Gon 6 castles and other utils. So, hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. But yeah, Buck, like, he can get through anything that isn't electrified. And he's got a really strong gun. The secondary shotgun, obviously, is really, really good. Yeah, and if you know what you're going to be pushing and you don't need hard breaches, then you can bring flashes. So, Buck is just a really good operator. In fact, I would consider him up here. And this is loosely ordered, but there's a lot of operators that like these three I would consider pretty on par with each other. Frost, Frost is pretty situational. She's strong, like she has a good gun and a really good secondary, so honestly I think I'm gonna move her up here. But the thing with the Frost mats is just anyone who's prepared for them, like if you watch people who are in like Emerald Diamond, every time they vault over something they flick down to look for frost mats so they can shoot them, because you can shoot the frost mats before you land on them when you're vaulting over something. So, but even without that, that is a little bit of extra time. So if you put the frost mats in the right spots, that little flick could cost someone the gunfight. And if they don't do the flick, they get frost matted. So if you place them in the right spots, they can actually be really, really good. Blackbeard. This one's a hard one. A lot of people are going to disagree with this. I would consider him situationally strong. For specifically high elo. I'm not thinking, with these, I'm not really thinking of, like, the general application. I'm thinking of, like, the potential in a round for these operators. And Blackbeard is pretty high up there. Well, pretty high, I say, in bottom half. And the reasoning is just because in very high elo gunfights, it's all about who gets the first bullet to the head. But with Blackbeard, you give yourself an advantage because you'll block the first shot. So even if you're a little slow to react, the other person has to get 2 bullets out where you only have to get 1. So if you're someone with really good aim and you're playing in really high elo where people are aiming for the heads consistently, then Blackbeard is actually a really good pick. But that's a pretty niche situation, and he doesn't bring like any util to the team other than like frags. So that's why he's situationally strong, because he doesn't bring a lot of team anything really. Valkyrie, almost always good. There's almost no situation where I don't want to see a Valkyrie. Pretty much the only time I don't want to see a Valkyrie is when I know that the enemy team has a Brava who's really good at Brava. the cams are just, if you can place them right and your team doesn't spam red pings on them, Valk is just so strong. In fact, I would consider her up here. I'm not going to say can bring every round because, well, actually, no, I am. And I think I'm going to move Bandit down here. And Jaeger. Capitao, that's a can bring every round. Good gun, fire, Gone 6, smoke, claymores, smokes, or impact EMPs for gadgets. And smokes with the crossbow as well. So just always good, honestly. Like, with literally any operator on this list, even Mute and Doc, there are times where I would rather see another operator. But that's only really when the rest of the team is, like, refusing to switch to operators that are needed. Like, in a situation where, let's say you have Legion, you have, let's say Chalet Basement. You've got Legion, Mira, Cade, and let's go with Doc and Mute. I would rather see a Bandit instead of that Mute, because Mute, in the situation where you don't have electricity, or if your electricity is Cade and you need Cade for the hatches, I would rather see a Bandit. Because you know for a fact when Cade goes, either Cade is going to use a claw on the wall, or both claws on the wall, and then not be able to get the hatches. And yes, you know, hold on, let me finish my thought first. And either Cade is going to have to not get a hatch, not get either hatch, or not get the main wall, and then Mute's going to get the main wall. I'd rather see a Bandit so that the Bandit can trick the wall and make it really hard for the attackers to get it open. Of course, there are, like, you can play so that they can't even get the hatch open. Like, you could have people playing a library and stuff like that to make sure that they can't get hatch open. But by having Cade, you make it so that they don't need to expose themselves as much. They can stay, your roamers can stay more hidden. They don't need to get as aggro, because if you don't have electricity on the hatch, then your roamers need to actually watch that. But if you do have electricity on it, you can wait for the intel of them EMPing it, or shooting the claw, or twitching it, and then your roamers can push off of that, keeping them a little safer and making their flanks a little more effective. Cav is situationally strong. If your opponents have flank properly set up, Cav gets messed up pretty badly. But if you can find your opponent's weakness and exploit it, Cav can be super, super strong. Hibana is another situationally strong one. Her hard breaching is just worse than Thermite's at getting big holes open. So really the only situation where where Hibana is the preferred hard breacher is for maps that have lots of hatches, like Oregon Basement, Bank Basement. Bank Basement has 4 separate hatches that should be reinforced every round, and then maybe a 5th depending on if the defenders want to reinforce square hatch or not. So on a map like that, I would definitely want a Hibana most of the time. And I would also want someone playing with me to get that electricity off. But if you're trying to get a big hole open, Thermite is always going to be better than Hibana. His gadget goes off faster. Because, like, with Hibana, you're not going to get through a trick with Hibana. Just because of the fact that it takes too long to get your gadgets on both sides and get them off. All the Bandit really has to do is just put a battery down as soon as time his battery to be down, like right after the Thatcher EMP goes off. Chances are you're not getting through with Hibana. Thermite, if you're coordinated properly with your Thatcher, then you can get through that. Excuse me, you can get through that wall regardless. Um, but yeah, let's see. Echo. Echo, I would consider pretty good. Um, because you know those echo drones can bring, especially if if your team is playing off of time, echo is going to be insanely good because you can stop the plant with the sonic burst, and you get two of the drones, and they get 2 shots each before they need to recharge. So it can be really, really good. Echo's also got a really good gun, and he has impacts, so he can have a really big influence on the round. Jackal. You can bring Jackal every round. Jackal gets banned a ton, but if Jackal is an option, you should almost always be bringing a Jackal. Like, Jackal is one of those characters that you could, like, I would sacrifice another character to get a Jackal on the team. Not anything like a Thermite or a Thatcher, but like I would sacrifice a Monty to get a Jackal on the team unless we had a specific plan already for Monty. Mira. Mira is almost always good. Mira is one of those operators that gets banned a lot because Mira is really strong. She doesn't get banned over Fenrir. Fenrir is still the most banned defender in the game, but she is really, really good, especially if your Mira has really good setups. Very good gun, good secondary for the rotates, and head holes and stuff like that. And, of course, also the C4. Ying. Ying is a very, very strong operator. The fact that she can flash stuff and not get herself flashed, so she can push as the flash is going off, or she can flash at an angle where normally someone else with a flash grenade would have to look away. She is only immune to her own flashes, though. Or she has an anti-flash thing that activates when she pulls out a Candela. So, Ying's gun has an insane amount of ammo. She also has smokes and hard breaches, so she's good versatility there. And the Candelas are just so strong. Legion. I wouldn't be mad seeing a Legion every round. Legions, the goo mines bring a ton of intel, and if it's almost at the end of the round and an attacker steps in a Legion and there's like 4 seconds left on the clock, that's basically, if it's, let's say it's a one-on-one with not even Legion, let's say it's one-on-one with let's go with Jaeger and Monty. At the very end, Monty has not planted yet. There is only 4 seconds left in the round, and right as Monty is pushing to plant spot, steps on a Legion mine. That's basically a guaranteed win right there. Even though in a 1v1, a Jaeger should lose to a Monty 100% of the time. But now that Monty stepped in that goo mine, he has no choice but to try to finish off a Jaeger, because if he pulls out the goo mine and goes for the plant, there is nowhere near enough time to get the plant off and not get finished by Jaeger. And then, you know, just the amount of intel that the goo mines bring by placing them on common pushes is really, really strong. The extra little bit of damage is nice. And, of course, Legion has the super shorty. He's got a BP. And, I mean, I guess he has observation blockers, but nobody uses observation blockers. Or at least most of the time I'd rather have a BP than an observation blocker. And he's got the T5, and the T5 is a really, really strong gun. So yeah, Legion is definitely really good. Ella. I wouldn't consider Ella on the same tier as Legion, just because of the fact that she gets 3 Gersmonts and Legion gets, I think, 9 goo mines? I don't know if that's the exact number, but he gets a lot of goo mines. And he's got the super shorty. So Ella I would consider pretty good. In fact, I'd consider her below Ash and Thermite. And yeah, I mean, the Gersmonts are really good. Her Scorpion is really, really good. She has one of the better shotguns in the game for fragging. And she has one of the better pistols, but doesn't bring as much util to the team, and has about the same, and has, about the same fragging capability as Legion. Dokkaebi. Dokkaebi is, in my opinion, the most annoying attacker in the game to deal with. She does so much at the same time. She reveals the location of every single defender on the map from, like, halfway across. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but, like, from, like, halfway across the map. She just reveals the location of every defender and forces them to sit still for, like, a second and a half or something like that, turning off the call, or just deal with having their position revealed. That's not even to mention the fact she's got two really, really strong guns. She's got the SMG-12 secondary. She's also got the C7-5, if that's more your speed. She's got flashes and smokes and EMPs, if I remember correctly. And then she can hack defender cameras, too. She just does so much all at once. Which is why Dokkaebi is, I believe, the most banned operator at the moment. Vigil is another one. The Boz G is insanely strong, and with the fact that Dokkaebi and Jackal get banned so often, that leaves him with no counters, because all of the two anti-roamers that are left, Lion and Deimos, both get countered by Vigil. If your drone is far enough away that it doesn't get the little Vigil effect, you won't even know that Vigil is there if he's standing still, and if he is standing still, sometimes you won't even know he's there. You'll think that he's off somewhere else, when really he's standing right next to your drone. So Vigil is really, really strong, and like the whole game is about gathering intel and using that intel to attack, and Vigil counters that. So if you've got Dokkaebi and Jackal banned, Vigil is terrifying. Zofia, I don't use Zofia a ton, and I don't really know anybody that uses Zofia a ton, but she is a really good operator. She's got two really good guns, stun grenades, and the breaches are really good. I would consider her better than Ashe most of the time, honestly. I think I'm going to bring Ashe down a little bit. And that's just for the fact that, like, she gets the same number of breaches as Ashe does, but she's also got the concussion mines, which are really, really good for covering audio, so that it's harder for the enemy to tell when you're swinging, and their vision is a little blurry. And, really, really good guns, claymores, etc. Lion, almost always good. He's still a really, really strong operator. I mean, he's nothing like he was when he was first released, thank God, but he is still a really, really strong operator. Two very, very good guns. Secondaries are whatever. They're fun secondaries for sure. And he's got claymores, frags, and I believe impact EMPs. Not 100% sure on that one. Let me go check real quick. Forgot that I have the game open, so I can just go look. No, it's stun grenades. Claymores, frags, and stun grenades. Let's see. Finka is another operator. So yeah, Lion is almost always really good to bring. If you've got Vigil banned, which is kind of uncommon, but I see the reasoning behind it. If you've got Vigil banned, then Lion is really good because there's nobody that can avoid the Lion scan. Finka's in a really good place right now. I would consider a Finka almost always good. The fact that she can heal the entire team at once and can res everybody from a distance. I think Finka's in a really good position, honestly. Let's see. Maestro. Maestro's really strong. The cams are really nice. Good for denying plants. Um, good for dealing with util. And very good for intel. Not as good as Valkyrie, though. I would consider Valkyrie stronger in most situations. Alibi. Alibi's another one that's pretty good. Um, I personally like to put alibis on angles that people could be holding, like a lot of walls that you put head holes on. I like to put the alibis sort of like half in cover, watching the head holes, which makes people think that they're like an actual real person. If you're going up against anyone that's good, you're not going to be able to pull off the pretending to be an alibi thing very well. Assuming they're ready for it, of course. If they're not thinking about it whatsoever, you could catch them off guard. But there are telltale signs, even aside from your weapon skin and stuff like that. But she's got a good gun, and the Bailiff is a really nice pick. Forgot to mention, but Maestro also has the Bailiff. But yeah, Alibi is a pretty good operator. Maverick, situationally strong, below Cav. Also Cav, I forgot to actually put Cav in the right position here. Let me just reorder things around here. Situationally strong. There's some cool stuff you can do with Maverick, but you really need someone else making noise for you, and it has to be a wall that someone's not actively looking at. You can do some cool glass tricks with Maverick, but he's not a super good operator. He's definitely strong in some situations. Clash, situational. You have to have people playing around you. It's not like the other shield operators where you can fight on your own. You really can't fight on your own as Clash. If Diffuser's down and it's a 1v1, chances are Clash is not winning and the round is over. But like in if Monty is 1v1ing someone and the Diffuser's not down, Monty has a pretty good chance of winning that fight. It's very difficult to 1v1 a Monty, especially if it's late in the round and you don't have C4 anymore, or you're not even a character that can have C4. Nomad is a very strong operator. I would consider Nomad way up here because Nomad is very good at covering flanks. You can get air jabs in spots that are completely impossible to deal with. Like you can get air jabs in spots that can't be impacted. That's a big thing. Claymores can, in almost any situation, Claymores can almost always be impacted to deal with them. But Nomad, you can get your air jabs in spots where it cannot be impacted, and so it sets up for just a guaranteed flank watch. She's got, the ARX is really, really strong, and choice of flashes or breach charges makes her pretty versatile there. Cade. Cade is an interesting one. Whoops, I accidentally grabbed smoke. Whoopsies. I don't remember where I had smoke, so I'm just going to put him like here. Cade. I think Cade is a can bring every round, because Cade, the difference really between Cade and Bandit is that Cade claws are harder to spot. Generally, you can hide them in floors. You can even hide them on completely different. You can hide them outside the building. You can hide them on the opposite. Like if you're second floor, you can go put the Cade. First floor, you could put the Cade in a different room to make it so that it can't be Callied. There are even some spots where it's not EMPable, or at the very least, it's very difficult to EMP with Thatcher. So Cade, I would say, in a situation where the wall isn't super important, I would rather see a Cade than a Bandit. Also, the fact that Cade can get 6 walls if you have some sections that... I don't think there's any sites that have 2 sets of 3 walls, so it's really more like you can get 5 walls. But, yeah. Gridlock. Situationally strong. Can make for some really, really strong post plant. Is pretty decent at covering flank as well. Decent guns. Super shorty is nice. Frag smokes. Pretty good character, but situational. But very strong in those situations. Mozzie. It's pretty good. He's in an interesting place after the removal of the 1.5 from the game. That was a big reason a lot of people played Mozzie, was for the 1.5 on the P10 Roni. But with that gone, the P10 Roni is still a really good gun. The Commando 9 is still pretty good. C4 is nice, and the extra intel and the intel denial combination is pretty good. But I would consider Mozzie not lackluster, but not... I would consider him pretty middle of the pack. Knock. Knock is kind of bad. Knock is in a pretty bad situation right now. The ability to cloak herself doesn't really do much against anyone other than, like, Valk. Because, like, most people just shoot the cams anyways. So that still denies the intel. It is nice that her ability lasts a really long time, but they did remove the thing where it makes her quieter, so it's just Vigil on attack, but without the Boz G. And she's not super good. The FMG isn't an insanely good gun. It is good, but, I mean, most of the guns in this game are good. And definitely almost all of the guns are viable. Or at least every operator has at least one viable gun. But, yeah, Knock is kind of meh. Warden is situationally strong as well. I would consider him down here. Yeah, down here. He's got 2 really good guns, and he has the M590, which is also really good. But his gadget, at least in the lobbies I play in, which are not all that great, but people don't really use smokes and flashes all that much. I spectate so many people who are, like, last 45 seconds, they're in a 1v1, they know where the person is, and they have flashes, and they have 3 flashes still, and they just don't use them. It really annoys me. And maybe that's conditioning from when Warden was, like, super strong with the 1.5 on the MPX and being a 2-speed, but I just don't see Warden being all that crazy. He's strong in the situations where things line up for him. He's very strong in those situations, but Amaru, situational. You can do some cool stuff with Amaru, and she's got good guns, especially the SMG-11, but her ability, there's, like, almost no situation where you use her ability all 4 times. Amaru's just not that great. Crazy that I have Blackbeard above Amaru. I'm thinking about that now. It's kind of crazy. I'm actually going to move Blackbeard down here. Goyo? Goyo is almost always good. I'm actually going to bring Mira up here. Yeah, Goyo is almost always good. His ability is really strong. And he's got a really, really good gun. And he's got impacts. Callie is situationally strong. There are certain maps where she just destroys, and her ability is really good at dealing with bandit tricking. But otherwise, Siege is not a sniper game. Doesn't really lend to Cali all that much. And like the fact that it one taps doesn't really mean anything because everything one taps to the head. So the only times where she's good is if you can hold a really far angle where you can actually put the massive magnification, or I think it's like 5 or 6 times magnification of her sniper to use. While Mai, very strong operator, very good gun, and good util. Ayana, pretty much in the same boat. Oryx, I would consider him... I have a bit of bias because I am an Oryx main, but I would consider him up here. The best part about Oryx is just the fact that you counter shields really hard. The only shield who has a chance against you is Blitz, and that's only if he perfectly times the flash. But a lot of blitzes wait for you to get too close to flash, and so you can just Oryx dash into them and destroy them. Ace, 100% bringing Ace every round. I don't know why I can't put him above Dokumi. There we go. Ace, probably the best attacker in the game. I'd say his only real competition is like Zero. One of, if not the best attacker weapon. One of the... Yeah. Very, very strong in the AK-12. Fuse also has it, but his ability is just so much less useful than Ace. If you know you need a hard breacher, but you don't know which hard breacher to bring, Ace is the choice. Because he might not be able to blow a hole as big as Thermite, but he can still blow a big hole in the wall much better than Hibana can. Ace can deal with bandit tricking much easier, because he can toss the Selmas on both of the walls much faster than Hibana can get those out. And one Selma blows up a hole, I would say a little tiny bit bigger than the 6 Hibana charge. Melusi, now moving on to Melusi, I would put her here. Melusi is one of the best defenders in the game. Crazy strong gun, impact, and a very, very good ability. Almost always a good operator to have on your team. Zero, like I said, Zero is one of the best operators in the game. Crazy good intel. You can get Zero cams in some crazy spots. Insanely good gun. Very high fire rate with 52 damage on extended barrel for crazy fast kills. Aruni. I'm gonna put Aruni up here. Up here. I would say these three are pretty on par with each other. I could mix around this order for days and never be satisfied with it. Melusi. But yeah, Melusi I would consider really, really strong. Melusi. And Aruni. I forgot we were talking about Aruni here. Aruni, very good intel. The only time you really don't want an Aruni is if there is a Brava. If you know they're going to have a Brava, I would really not want to see an Aruni on my team unless we have, like, Mute and Mozzie. Because Aruni gates are really, really bad for defenders. They're going to force you to take damage. They're going to make you unable to see 4 things and stuff like that. Which, I mean, the same goes if you're not close enough to the gate to deactivate it. But Aruni gates are just not a huge fan of getting those Brava, but otherwise she's really, really strong. The Mark 14 is obnoxious on defense. And of course she can make rotates whenever she wants, because she can just punch it. Flores. Situational. If they don't have a mute, he's good at destroying intel, and that's about it. But you can still shoot the drone before he activates it. So, Thunderbird also situational. Pretty bad. Actually, I'm gonna put Blackbeard down here. I'm kind of conflicted on. Actually, I'm gonna put Amaru down here. Most of the time, Amaru is not a good pick. Like with these other operators in situational, like at least you can get use out of their abilities. Most of the time, and like, cause like Amaru on most like 99% of rounds, she's just 2 guns, and flashes or hard breach charges. You could do anything you could do with Amaru. You could do with who else's flashes? You could do with Buck, but better, other than Amaruing into sight. And Amaruing it is, or getting onto the roof really fast, or Amaruing up through a hatch. But those are extreme. Like, I would go even beyond saying that they're situationally strong or situational. I would just say they're almost never good, because those situations just don't arise very often. Same goes for Blackbeard. He is hopefully getting a rework soon, though, so. Osa. Osa's pretty good. Especially if you got a team coordinating properly, Osa's pretty good. Thorn's kind of meh. There's some cool things you can do by like putting thorn traps in the ground and then putting a barbed wire over, like shooting out the floor, putting a thorn trap in the, shooting out the top layer of the floor, I should say, but not the layer below that, and then tossing a thorn trap in the hole and then covering it with barbed wire. They can be pretty lethal, because when they go to punch the barbed wire, if you have it placed right, the thorn will activate. Or if they try to walk through the barbed wire, they'll probably die to the thorn. But Thorn's gun is kind of meh, and that's honestly about it. Thorn's good. Like I said, most of the operators in this game are good, but Thorn is just same kind of situation with Mozzie. I don't feel like her traps are very good at actually being traps. They're more like a one-time use procs alarm most of the time. Azami. Azami is really good. Azami is like insanely strong. She's nasty. I don't even think I need to say anything else. Azami is just crazy. Sens. Generally not good. Actually, I'm going to say situational. Because Sens is basically just a ton of smokes that are slightly less effective than normal smokes. Grim, very, very strong. Very, very strong. You can cut off angles that make it so people can't push you temporarily, so that your team can clear out another threat. That's the thing. Grim, you kind of need to be playing with other people for Grim to be strong, but Grim actually is really useful when you're playing with a team doing a push, because you can toss the bees in a spot where they have to go through it, and it'll give you enough time to actually react to it. And so you can use that to clear out a section, and then to cut off an angle temporarily while you clear something else. Solus, after the nerfs, is just pretty good. She's still strong, but kind of meh. But definitely not dominant like she was before. Not being able to use her gadget at all during the prep phase is pretty bad. And the reduced to range, duration, and not, the removal of impacts and all of that. P90 is still insanely good, but I feel like she got nerfed a little too hard. Brava, almost always good. Brava's a very strong operator. A lot of the good defenders are ones you can counter with Brava. I say as I put her above a lot of the people that she can Brava. Fenrir. I'm actually going to move Dokkaebi up here. I don't think I really need to say anything about Fenrir. He's just His gadget is so obnoxiously good. It's very, very difficult to deal with, especially if a Fenrir knows what they're doing. Ram. What do I think about Ram? I would consider Ram situationally strong. Like, she's better than a lot of the operators here. Like, I would consider Ram a better operator than Thorn, Mozzie, Solus, Frost, Rook, Osa, some attackers here, Fuse, Thermite. But the fact is just that if you're bringing Ram and they're on second floor and there's nothing you can ram, it's basically just audio. There are some situations where, like, you could toss a ram into sight from a window to open up the floor and then play below, but again, that's a situation. That's not can bring it every round. Tubarao, another one you can bring every round. This gadget is basically just mute on the go. And he's got the AR-1550, which is insane. Deimos is pretty average. Honestly, I might switch this. I'm going to actually move this down and call this average. The reason I put situationally strong above is because, like, in fact, I'm going to move Nomad up here. I'm actually going to rename this into strong. Yeah, I'm changing this up a little just because I feel like this fits better. Whoops. There we go. Yeah, I think this fits much better. Yeah. Sentry, almost all, or Striker, sorry. Almost all, I think that's Striker at least. I'm gonna go check, because I don't remember which one is which. Okay, yeah, that is Striker. Striker is almost always good. Self-sufficient hard breacher. Or Claymore's frags, Claymore's flashes, whatever you want to do. Average. Much less effective than Striker, simply for the fact that Striker is the first ever operator to be able to have EMPs, or to be able to clear wall denial and breach the wall. Sentry doesn't do anything like that, which is why Striker is so much better. But yeah, that's my tier list, so let me know what you guys think. So yeah, that's the whole tier list. Yeah, thank you for the probably like 2 people that Ooh, okay, Mr. One Pixel actually what's it called? One Pixel actually brings up a good point. I forgot actually that Ash can break, what's it called? Also, I'm moving these guys up because I actually forgot that Ash can break Miras. I did forget about that fact. So Ash does have that team comp, what's it called, that I wasn't thinking about. So thank you for my one chatter from like 10 minutes ago telling me. Sorry I didn't see the message sooner. But yeah, I do agree with that. But yeah, that is my tier list. So that is the end of my stream. I will see you guys later.